Now that you're finished adding your evidence, it's time to explain it. So, you're going to, after each quote in your speaker note, to explain how each piece of evidence helps you to answer your main research question. Things you can consider doing in this explanation are telling what you can infer or conclude based on the evidence, elaborating on the idea by giving more detail about why or how. You can tell how your personal experiences or things that you've observed illustrate the idea with a specific example. What you are absolutely not doing is you are not saying this means and then restating exactly what it says in your own words. Um, that is summarizing. You don't want to do that. It's repetitive. It insults the intelligence of your audience. It's just a bad thing to do for so many reasons. It doesn't analyze anything. It doesn't add any ideas to the evidence. Um, it just shows that you understand what the quote says, not what it means in terms of your research. So, again, you don't want to summarize. You also don't want to simply state what you think it shows without explaining in detail your thinking behind how the evidence shows it. So, you need to show that thinking. You are aiming for a 2-to-1 explanation to evidence ratio. This means that your explanation should be twice as long as the quote that you are using. So, if you don't have that much to say about your quote, you should probably consider choosing a different one. Now, you have that whole packet of sentence starters for talking about um, texts. So, you can use those to help you get started with your explanation. You can use the notes you put in your topic guide. Maybe those will have some good ideas for you. But whatever you do, you have to explain each piece. So, you can see for the slide that we added evidence to, I'm going to add my explanation now. And it doesn't say we have to highlight it any special color, so I'm not going to. I'm going to move this a little bit so you can see what I'm typing. So about my first quote, I think I'm going to explain ways that this is beneficial and ways that this is not beneficial. So I think that the advantage of this immediate feedback gives Gen Zers is that they know much sooner than students in previous generations if they are hitting the mark. This allows them to adjust and avoid continuing to make the same mistakes on future assignments. The frequency of the feedback keeps them on track and minimizes the time they are behind. Okay, so that is my first explanation. You can see I just put it underneath my first quote. And here is my second quote. So this was about school shootings. Oh, That's right. I wanted to also add to this. You can see this is only really as long as the quote itself. So it's still, I need to add some. So I talked about the advantage. Um, on the other hand, when the feedback isn't immediate, and instead takes days or maybe even weeks to be given, students often experience a lot of anxiety. They also have trouble waiting patiently for this delayed feedback. All right, now I have a decent amount more than what the length of my quote is. So I can stop there. I have a sufficient explanation. For this school shooting one, it's obviously a lot shorter, so I don't have to say as much about it. What I am going to say is the most obvious effect of this stress effect was right is increased anxiety at school, which in turn impacts students' overall attitude toward school, as well as distracts from students from learning. Another effect could be encouraging a YOLO, you only live once mentality in these Gen Zers who feel they could die any day. I've explained both pieces of my evidence. My explanations are long enough, so I would just continue explaining for the other four pieces. You have two on each of your other main idea slide, and then you would be done with this step. All right, see you next time.